Coach, you now own the most points ever scored in school history during a regular season at 452. That just so happens betters the old record of 362 by the 1991 team. That's 90 points better than any other team that's ever suited up to wear the blue and gold. Has to be something you're proud of, right?
Yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the kids' efforts, on the offensive side of the ball. I think the biggest thing with us this year offensively, we've just been real consistent. I think the least number of points we've put up has been 35, and I think the 3 games that we put those up, we didn't play very well offensively. I thought we played okay, but not at the level that we're capable of playing at. But it's good in one sense because we scored so many points. Bad in another sense that we gave up so many points. But if you look at our district had a lot of really good offensive teams in it. We've played some really good offensive teams in non-district play, and it's just the year of the offense, and we're just part of that. And I'm pleased with what we've done offensively, not pleased with where we are defensively, and that's something that has been an ongoing progress for us every week, and something we've had to work on.
Well, that was my next question. As good as the offense has been, we must mention the defense in that area. You're also on top of the record book by giving up 421 points. The spread offenses are changing a lot of record books, aren't they?
Yes, they are. We went to the district meeting yesterday, and when we met yesterday and we talked about district selections, I think it took almost 2 hours and 15 minutes to do the offense side of the ball, and I think it took about an hour to do the defensive side of the ball. It's because, again, every team in our district averaged over 300 yards a game, and the defenses are struggling right now to keep up. And again, like we talked about a few weeks ago, you got to be able to play in space, and if you can't play in space, then you're in trouble. And the offenses right now, I just think, are ahead of the defenses with things just like I believe the offenses a long time ago with the wishbone were ahead of the defenses because they hadn't quite figured out how to keep up with it. But all that will change eventually. It'll kind of roll back over again the way it is, and I think things will kind of settle out to where you won't have these 54 to 55 and 64 to 65 and 49 to 48 games that everybody's seeing every week.
Last week you had a little hiccup versus Frisco Liberty. Were the kids just ready to get in the playoffs knowing that they had secured a dance with Highland Park?
I think that, I don't like to make excuses, but I think that was part of it. I think we'd already clinched the playoff spot, and I think the kids thought, well, we're just going to win this one and go into the playoffs against Highland Park, because all week long you could hear the kids talking about Highland Park. We're going to play Highland Park, this and that. And then, too, I thought that, we turned the ball over 4 times. You're not going to beat anybody turning the ball over 4 times. And, that's very uncharacteristic. If you go back and look at all of our stats, that's something we just don't do. We don't turn the ball over. And, we muffed a punt, which cost us, and at the time we were only 7 down, and they hadn't stopped us. In fact, they didn't stop us the whole night. We had 2 interceptions, and we fumbled a ball on their side of the 50. And, 2 of the interceptions, we were in the red zone getting ready to score. And it just, kids make decisions, and you go with them. And Zach threw 2 picks, but, gosh, what do you say? He's played great all year long, and he still played a real good ball game. He played a really good ball game, but for him it was an average game. It wasn't the games that you've seen from him time and time again. So we were due to have a little bit of an off night offensively because we had been playing at such a high level over the course of the last 5 weeks, and I felt like that was part of it too. But, we had 516 yards and we only had the ball 15 minutes. So it wasn't a horrible performance. It's just that we turned the ball over, and we just can't do that.
A couple of 1-point losses keep you from playing your old team, Richardson Pierce. Do you think about what would have been to get them first round?
No, I just worry about Highland Park. Highland Park's enough to worry anybody, and they got a great tradition. They don't have the best athletes, but their kids play so hard, and their coaches do a great job of putting their kids in the right places to make plays. And so, I don't worry about Pierce. I'm real happy that those kids got in the playoffs because, the last thing I wanted to do after I left Pierce was to see Pierce go back to where it was before I got there. I wanted it to stay a winning tradition because we worked really hard to get the program in good shape and left the program in really good shape. And, I'm happy for the kids that they've made the playoffs the last 2 years, and I wish them the best of luck. But that's the extent of it. I'm concerned about where we are and what we've got to do, and and how we handle, playing Highland Park and what we do with it.
Well, speaking of Highland Park, your wife Susan at one point was the principal's secretary at HP, and your daughter Amy was a athletic secretary. Are they still there?
My wife's still there. This is her 10th year. She's I think she's been through 3 principals now there, and the people are really good to her. They're really nice folks, and she loves it over there, and she'll stay there till she retires. And then my daughter Amy was with Randy. She was his secretary for 5 years, and she left about a year and a half ago, and now she's with Southwest Airlines, and she's a flight attendant, and she lives in Las Vegas, and she's young, and she's got a good life.
So don't you think this 1 week you'd like for her to be back at HP, though?
No, that's the one thing we do. We separate our jobs and our family time, and it's harder on my wife than anybody because, all the Highland Park people kind of give her a hard time because the 6 years that we played them when I was at Pierce, it was constant. Oh, it's Highland Park again. I say, I know, but it's harder on Susan than it is anybody else because she has to go back and see them after the game's over. And, 1 year she got to gloat because we ended up beating them. And then the other 5 years she didn't get to gloat. She had to go back and take the crow and just move on with it.
Highland Park and Randy Allen are always tough to deal with on the field, but sometimes even off the field. Since you have that little bit of a connection there, did you guys have any trouble settling the place? Not
a lick of trouble. No, Randy and I have a good relationship. He's a good man, and he's a very honorable guy. And we decided right off quick that we want to play at Kimbrough. We decided that we want to play on Friday night, 7:30, and we just met and flipped for home. We won the home flip, and everything was congenial, and we didn't have any problems.
They score points just like you do. They were defeated last week for the first time in 47 regular season games. Will that emotion of a loss help them or hurt them?
Well, I'm sure it helps them, but I think it helps. I think it helps us too. I think that it shows that there's a kink in that armor, and I think it tells our kids that if we play, we got an opportunity to beat them. They're, like I said before, they're not great athletes or good athletes, but they do a great job because they play so hard, and they just do a good job of coaching their kids, and their kids respond to the coaching. But athlete-wise, particularly on offense, we match up really good with them defensively. And I think we match up defensively if we play at the level that we're capable of playing at.
Talking about a kink in the armor, Highland Park, if they do have one, it seems to be stopping the run. You've been a pretty balanced team. And matter of fact, Brett Helt has rushed for 121 yards at least in every game. Do you take that in consideration for your game plan?
We're going to do what we do. We're going to run the ball and we're going to throw the ball. And we don't go into it saying, okay, we've got to run the ball 40 times and we've got to throw the ball 35, or we got to throw the ball 50 times and run it 20. We're going to go into it. We're going to see what we get. And the old adage, we're going to take what we get, and that's what we've done all year long. And we've done a lot of taking this year, and we're going to plan on doing a lot more taking Friday night.
Defensively, what do you have to focus on first?
I think we got to stop the pass. I think the running game is good. I don't think it's great. I think that if they've got a good running back in Dickinson, he does a good job. Their offensive line, I think, is a good offensive line, but I don't think it's superior like they've had in the past. They're not as big as they've been. They're not as athletic. I think that I don't think their offensive line's good as our offensive line. I think, and I know that's a little boastful, but I think our offensive line is very good. And I think their offensive line plays above, what their abilities are. But I think we got to slow the pass down. We can't let them get, like they've done with everybody else, get these chunks of 25 and 30 and 35 yards and just let the kid sit back there and pick you apart, because he can. I mean, he's got a good arm. He makes good decisions. He doesn't throw interceptions, and he's very, very accurate. He's quick to release the ball. So we've got to try to slow down their passing game, I think, and force them to run the football.
You've been listening to the MISD Coaches Show featuring McKinney head coach Bobby Reyes. I'm Monty Walker, and McKinney ISD football will continue in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.